People are buying homes in Lake Elsinore, but there are 3 critical mistakes that I see them make that cost them hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So in this video, we're going to compare buying a new construction home versus buying a resale home. Who each one is best for, what to watch out for, and how to avoid buyer's remorse. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Miguel Diaz. I'm a local realtor in Lake Elsinore, and every single week I help people just like you who are thinking about moving to Southern California. If you want to contact me and have a private conversations where I can help out with your questions, my information is going to be on the description below. Okay, so first I want to talk about the hidden expenses, new construction versus resale homes. Before you buy new construction, this is what the builders do not advertise. The price you see on the sheet does not include the money that you're going to spend in the studio. Flooring, extra windows, double sinks, shower options, tubs, types of countertops, hinges, compartments, doors in the garage, right? The door that leads from the garage to the outside, that's extra. So basically, it depends on the builder what is included. Most of these builders, all these options are extra. And a lot of times the upgrades depends on the builders. There are very few which they have the motto of what you see is what you get. You pretty much pick the model you like, and you just pick 3 different things and that's it. Other builders, they have a long list of what's included and what's not included. So on the base price, all these upgrades that I mentioned, they're not included. You would have to pay extra. So if you buy a house and you're under contract for $630, you could easily go over to $650, $660, depending on all the selections that you made in the studio. Also, after you close on the home, you're going to be investing more money on the landscaping. The backyard is pretty much a blank canvas. You're going to have to pay for somebody to come and put concrete, grass, trees, whatever you want to do, depending on the community. Sometimes they give you up to a year to submit the plans for your backyard. So if you're using all your money to buy the house, you have a year to save up again, and all that money that you're saving up is going to have to go to the backyard. You want to be very careful with, your finances. Now that's what builders don't advertise. But here's the thing, buying a resale home does not mean that you avoid extra cost either. It just shows up in a different way. There are times where buying a resale home can be a better deal, but only if you understand what you're paying for. I always tell people buying a used home is like buying a used car. It could end up needing some minor cosmetic updates, right? Because some of these parts can have some mileage on them. Now imagine you are buying a used car, but you get to take it to the mechanics for them to inspect it before you give them the money and before you sign the pink slip. That's what you're doing when you buy a resale home. You're going to get an inspection where they inspect everything, and if there's something wrong with the house that you do not like, a hidden expense that wasn't visible that we did not know of, well, you can cancel the contract if you do not like what you see, and you could just submit an offer on another home, which is kind of cool because sometimes you buy a car and the check engine light turns on like 2 weeks later. Well, with the house, you actually get to inspect it, and if you're not satisfied, you can cancel. And the reason is because when we look at resale homes, it's just kind of like a visual inspection, right? Because we're not going in the attic, we're not crawling in crawl spaces, we're not turning on the bathtub. The seller by law has to give us a piece of paper where they disclose everything that they know is wrong with the home and any updates and upgrades and changes, insurance claims that they're aware of. Once you get the home inspector out there, they're going to check the roof, the plumbing, electricity. You can also pay for termite inspection. And after you close on the home, you might not need to spend any money after you move in, especially if we are aware that the seller has replaced big ticket items like the AC 2 years ago or the roof 3 years ago. Also, us agents on the contract, we typically put for the seller to pay for a home warranty. So in case the AC does stop working a year later, then the home warranty covers a huge portion of that expense. Most of the time, the sellers are okay for paying for buyers' home warranties. It is very important for us agents to include that the seller pays for the buyer's home warranty. That way, if it does break, the home buyer does not have to pay 100% of the repairs. With resale homes, you are inheriting years and years of wear and tear. Even if the home is in good shape, you might get the urge and want to try and fix something, change something, paint, replace. It is normal, you want to make this house your own. In some cases though, you are buying somebody's pride of ownership, a home that's nicely maintained, that's been taken care of with lots of upgrades, and everything's already done. In other cases though, you might get a home that's a lower price, but it fits your budget better, but it might come with future expenses. Both can be a great deal, and just make sure it's an educated decision. And speaking of smart moves, subscribing to this channel is another one. I'm here to help curious, research-minded, individuals about the housing market here in Lake Elsinore. So go ahead and subscribe. Okay, so now moving on to new construction warranties and closing costs. What gives new construction an edge is that a lot of these builders, they offer rate buy downs, and they also be helping with your closing costs. I've seen as little as 4% interest rates, 5% interest rates, 3.5% interest rates. Sometimes these rates, they're good for 5 years, 7 years, or you might get lucky and get a 5-year, 30-year terms. Closing costs, sometimes $10,000. I've seen $20,000, $25,000. All of these are promotions. They don't always last. If you are looking for new construction, I get emails all the time of these promotions and you want to work together, I suggest you give me a call. I'm able to scrub a list and let you know what builders in the area have the best deals, the best discounts, and are giving the best rates. Also, when it comes to buying or resale homes in this market, sellers are open to paying for buyers' closing costs. So it's just not new construction helping out with your closing costs. There are potential sellers out there that are open to helping out with closing costs if it means helping you out financially to help the deal close. And I want to add this little secret that a lot of buyers do not know. But you could actually buy a resale home and take over the owner's low rate. So if they have a 2.5% rate, you could buy the house and take over their loan and keep that 2.5% rate. The only thing is that you have to have enough funds to be able to pay for the difference of what they owe on the loan and what they're asking for. And if you have that good chunk of money in the bank, you are able to take over their 2.5% interest rates. So if they have a 2.5% rate, you could take on that 2.5% rate. You do not have to worry about getting a 6% interest rate in this market if you have the funds. If you do not have the funds, unfortunately, it cannot be done. And also, not all loans are transferable. These are called assumable mortgages. Also, before I forget, for the most part, most builders have the same warranties when it comes to new homes. Typically, it includes a 1-year covers workmanship and material, example doors, paint, trim, basic finishes, a 2-year warranty on covers and major systems like plumbing, electrical, and HVAC, and then 10 years on structural defect, foundation, load-bearing walls, framing, etc. Typically, for the most part, the warranties on these new constructions are all the same, but of course, we always want to read the fine print before we go under contract. So we covered upgrades, inspections, and warranties. Now let's cover the bill that can hit you out of nowhere. Supplemental taxes. This one catches a lot of first-time homebuyers off guard. Pretty much the supplemental tax bill is a one-time catch-up property tax bill you can get months later after you buy the home, because the county updates the home's value to the new price and charges taxes on the difference. So the supplemental taxes for new construction can feel very big because the first assessed value is just in the land, and then the county adds the value of the finished home later, and then the home buyer ends up getting the bill, not the builder. On a resale home, the supplemental tax bill can be pretty high if the seller owned the home for many years and had a low old tax value, and then you buy it for much more. So the county is practically catching up on the big jump in value. Or it could be low if the home seller bought it recently and there's very little difference when it comes to the old value and your purchase price. Usually new construction can feel a lot higher because the property can start off assessed on the land, and then when the home is finished, the county adds the value of the home, so the jump can be pretty big. Resale can also be high if the seller did own the home for a long time. Either way, just make sure you are managing your money correctly, because the supplemental tax bill can come around the same time that the HOA is telling you that your landscaping for the backyard is due. Alright, now let's talk about pricing. New construction versus resale. Well, this is going to vary on the location and the upgrades that the new construction home has. So a lot of times when these new homes close, they don't have pictures of the inside, so it's really hard to tell what upgrades were included in that price, because sometimes when they market these homes, they just take pictures of the model, and a lot of times what they're actually selling do not have the upgrades that the model has. So this one right here, we're just going to look at the bedroom count and square foot. 4 bedroom, 3 bath, 2,541 square feet, lot size almost 5,000 square feet, and it's sold for $670. If we look at this one for $5,000 more, it's a little bit bigger, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,735 square feet, almost 7,000 square feet in lot size. Looks like the agent did not want to pay for professional photography here. For this one, it looks like the home was remodeled. I believe the year was 1998. This definitely does not look like it's a late 90s kitchen. $5,000 more. This is pretty much what you could get. All right, next, new construction. This one sold for $665,000. Originally, it was selling for $700,000. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,824 square feet. Lot size is right almost at 7,600. And for that one, we are going to compare it to this one. This one is around the same size, 2,862 square feet. The lot size is bigger, and 4 beds, 3 baths, sold for $685,000. So practically it sold for $20,000 more. And this is what the inside looks like. This realtor, props to them, they actually paid for professional photography. And look at how nice the pictures came out. So it's terrible marketing when a real estate agent does not pay for professional marketing. In my opinion, it sucks when the house looks super nice and the realtor just decided to take pictures with their phone because they did not want to spend money on marketing. Look at how nice the kitchen is here. Props to this realtor for actually paying for the photographer. Okay, last home we're going to look at is a smaller home. This one closed for practically $550,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,663 square feet. Lot size close to $6,500. And we're going to compare that one to this one. $535,000, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, 1,703 square feet. Smaller, so this one has a smaller lot, 1 more bathroom, and it's almost around the same size. And it closed for $535,000, $550,000. What is that? $15,000 less. So I got my opinions. Everybody has their own different opinions. Again, location, upgrades that the new construction home has. That all has a role, but this is practically what you could get for $550,000. And here's the backyard. Again, the new construction home had a bigger backyard. This one is right under $4,000, and the new construction home was $6,500. Again, everybody's opinion is a little bit different, and the location varies. The upgrades on the new construction varies. Also, how motivated these sellers are. Some sellers are more motivated than others. So I just wanted to give you guys something to compare to, something that was going to be in the same square feet, the same price range. And if we work together, what I do for you is I send you a list of all the resale homes, and we could easily compare those to the deals that the builders have. That way, at the end of the day, if you can't choose, well, having this list can help you make a more educated decision. Now, if you need to move soon, timeline is going to be a huge factor. Here's what closing looks on a resale versus new construction and the delays that nobody plans for. For new construction, when you secure the empty lot, it will take a few months for it to be complete. They usually give you an estimate, but delays can happen, weather permits, supply change. Also, when you're buying a new home and you put a deposit on the lot, if the rate is 6% that day, you do not get that percent. You cannot actually lock it until the home is closer to 30 to 90 days from being built. And a lot of times the promotions that they have, like a 4% interest rate, just might be on homes that are already ready. So you do not get to pick what upgrades you want on the home. It's pretty much, this is the home that's for sale, this is the interest rate promo. You want it or no? With the resale home, time frame's a lot faster. Sometimes sellers want to rent back, but for the most time, it's either a 21 to 30 day escrow. So you can move in as little as 3 to 4 weeks after you go under contract. Also, one last thing that I want to cover on new construction homes that I don't see a lot of people looking into is if you put a deposit on the empty lot, right, you already know what your home is going to look like because you walked the model. A lot of people do not ask what models are being built to the left, to the right, and in the back. And sometimes the ones in the back could be a different face, so even the salesperson might not know what model is being built on the back. At least you won't know if you don't ask. And the reason why I say this is because what if the home being built next to you has a bunch of windows that directly face your window? So for some people, you might not like that your bedroom window faces your neighbor's bedroom window. So then, you know, if you want to open up the blinds, open up the window, you might not want to because of privacy. You might not know what home is being built on the back, how they might be able to look into your private space. So that is one thing that a lot of people don't look into, and something they do not think about, because usually when you put the deposit, it's just a bunch of land that's empty and when the home is being built, that's when you start seeing these things. So just wanted to call that out because that is something I don't see that a lot of people really look into. And when it comes to resale home, obviously the home's already there. You already know what window faces what way, so you don't have to worry about that. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to work together, my information is going to be in the description below. If you stay to the end and you end up liking this video, I appreciate you. I put a lot of time and dedication into this research for smart viewers like yourself, and there's going to be some videos here, another video here. Go ahead and check them out. Talk to you soon.